I seem to be the only one disappointed with the direction Blizzard went with StarCraft 2. I mean, it's basically StarCraft 1 with 3D graphics and an expansion pack. It's great to see the old characters back again, and I look forward to the narrative, but the gameplay is practically unchanged. Humans still run your basic RTS, Zerg still have to spread the creep and evolve their units, and Protoss still have to build pylons and have really expensive units that are hard to kill. It's been 12 years, and this is what we get? I feel robbed. Worse, I feel betrayed because at the end of BroodWars, it set up some great twists that I wanted to see played out. I mean, Jimmy Rainier and the Protoss had formed a human-Protoss alliance, and the Zerg were building Protoss-Zerg hybrids, 2 possibilities for whole new armies right there. Throw in a third race from beyond the stars, and you've got a whole new game. How would a Protoss-Zerg play? Forget pylons or creep. Maybe they could have biological relay units that would carry power to the front line like some sort of electrical tentacle. And that's just off the top of my head. I don't want to come up with the game that should have been. The point is, Blizzard had the chance to do something groundbreaking like they used to do. They could have surprised us. I was expecting a surprise, which made what we got all the more disappointing. It's like underwear on Christmas. They took the safe money instead of trying something new. This is not the same Blizzard that made StarCraft to begin with. That Blizzard is dead. Maybe it'd be more poetic to say that that Blizzard has passed. Either way, the old Blizzard that took chances, that weren't afraid to put time and resources into something that might not succeed, is gone. Now they're just taking us, the audience, for granted. This is them basically saying, we know you're going to love anything we make, so why should we bother spending the time making something new? And it's true! StarCraft 2 has already sold like a bajillion copies, and so really, this is your fault. If you paid for StarCraft, if you bought it already, then you are the one enabling them to just plain abuse us. I, for one, am not going to put up with it. I am not buying StarCraft 2. But at least until they put out the battle chest. That didn't take very long. You know what? Maybe I will. Maybe I will take a little bit of time and design the game that never existed. The StarCraft 2 that I was half hoping for. Let me think about this for just 1 second. Let's start with the Protoss Zerg. The Protoss Zerg are cybernetic Zerg that without power they're just basically Zerg. Weak, fleshy, die easy. But if you can get power to your frontline units, they get a host of new abilities that makes them stronger and harder to defeat. And in order to get power to the units, you need to build biological relay stations, Zerglings of sorts that can send power from one to the next, assuming you're within a radius. Kind of like telephone poles, but without the wires in between. And you can move this chain of units around to chain the power anywhere you want. Or you could just spam the board with a bunch of them, although I imagine they'd have to be like super expensive to prevent that. But if you can chain a bunch of biological relay units to the front line, then all of a sudden your frontline units become just massively indestructible. That's going to be the basis for the Protoss Zerg. The basis for the human Protoss alliance. You know, I was thinking, there is one new unit in StarCraft 2 that I kind of like. They have a transforming unit on the human side. What if every unit transformed? Not just every unit. What if even the structures transformed? Even better, let's take away the micromanaging. You build a structure and it does the role of that structure automatically. So if you build a structure that creates harvesters, then it will just automatically every once in a while shoot out a harvester. It'll decide where they go, what they harvest, things like that. You don't touch that. But then at a switch of a button, you hit it and change that structure into something that instead of building harvesters, builds soldiers or some sort of aggressive unit on the front. Same with all the structures. Every structure has 2 forms, or maybe 3, why not, that you can change from one to the other and it will automatically produce a unit of that type and send it out for you. You don't do the micromanaging for the human and Protoss. They do the micromanaging for you. You just have to choose when your units are the more passive or the more aggressive. We need a third race from beyond the stars. I've always kind of thought it would be cool to have some sort of shadow race. Some race that doesn't exactly have a physical form, something... Okay, this one I don't have a whole lot on, but again, why am I making this game? Blizzard should have